to 12 range, sort of, I guess, might be the ideal. But we have extensive hours so that we can meet the needs of the patients. And so we're willing to be here as early as 6 and be here as late as 7:30 to treat people who might want to come before work or after work or lunchtime or wherever.
And
So.
what are you hearing from people so far in just this month that you guys have been open? I mean, has it been good news and good results? Or?
With the patients that are currently in treatment, I can't specifically talk to those patients. You might be able to.
Oh, Dr. Knapp, hi.
Peter Jasinski from the Sentinel. Nice to meet you.
I don't know, like obviously I don't want to intrude on anyone's privacy, but maybe just a general statement. I mean, are you getting good feedback from people coming in?
Yeah, I mean, the feedback that we get across the sites is pretty true to the data, which says about 3 and 4 have a good response. And that's way better than, people who have failed 4 medications and are so discouraged, kind of hopeless about whether they're ever going to feel better again.
Yeah.
So, what's hard to predict is when they're going to respond, because sometimes they respond really early in treatment, and sometimes it isn't until way late in the treatment. And we're relatively new to this site, so we haven't had a lot of people finish their treatment. I don't think anyone's finished their treatment here.
Can I ask, how old is this this kind of treatment? Is this new, like in the last year or two, or is it 5, 10 years old?
So 2008, I think, was when it was first
FDA cleared.
FDA approved, and then the type of TMS that we do, which is deep TMS, and uses different machines, brain's wave machine, and penetrates the brain more deeply than the surface TMS that was first approved in 2008. So we were FDA approved in 2013.
Yeah. And maybe just not necessarily in your experience, maybe just in this treatment overall. What's the success rate like in terms of treating people?
So first thing to know is that we're treating a really resistant population, treatment-resistant depression.
Right.
So people who have had, made their best attempts at therapy, they've tried lots of different medications, they've, done everything they can to get better, and they're still not feeling, they're still suffering from severe depression.
Yeah.
That treatment-resistant population is responding to this type of TMS at about a 75% rate.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So it's really pretty impressive, yeah.
And this is a bit of an odd question, but just I, as someone who has experienced depression, and I think of the different treatments that are available, obviously like talking to a therapist or going through with medication, this seems so different from everything else. It almost seems like science fiction, like it's a helmet that you can put on your head and be well.
Yeah.
Is there some hesitance from people, just given that it is so different, it is so unlike what has already been done for this?
Sure, yeah. I mean, you guys can speak to that too. People are, my husband driving up, I'm talking to him about TMS, and I said, you could try it if you want. He said, no, I like my brain the way it is. So, there's fear that it's going to injure their brain in some way or change their brain in some way. People wonder if it's like ECT, where you're going to get, zapped. But
I would say, though, even with the ambivalence that exists, that a lot of the people we see, they're so desperate to feel better that they're willing to take the chance. Once we sit and explain it, and in some cases we have them talk to patients that have gone through it before, and once that sort of fear factor is reduced, most of them gladly, walk into this scenario because they want relief. Right. And nothing else has helped. So, do you need us?
Well, I'm just letting you know, I don't know what you want to do or don't cover. The mayor is here.
Well,
I'm pretty much just right now.
The other thing I would say about that is that medicine is no picnic either. So a lot of the patients we've had have not only had a lack of success from medications, they've suffered with side effects.
Right.
And even people who do respond to medications often have to make this trade-off between feeling better with the medication and putting up with a really unpleasant side effect, or more than one side effect.
But my last question is, this is so new. How do you get the people to know about it? I mean, this is
You're the answer to that question.
I am the president. We get it out there, but I mean, normally these people are depressed, so they're not watching TV or doing stuff in their houses. They're not going out. They're not doing stuff. How do you
We
reach
do it
them?
all different ways. We have marketing. I really see them as educators more than marketing. But so we're doing it through social media. We're doing it through educating providers. So most of them are seeing providers, even if they're not leaving their house. They have to go to their psychiatrist or their therapist. And through advertisements. Through often it's a friend or a family member, like word of mouth. So all those, we're really hitting as many different areas that we can so that people know about it.
Because drugs for depression, you see them on TV all the time. But this is not something you see on TV. So it's
we have been doing some TV stuff, but we're not at a commercial place. And the other thing I want to say is, even though it was FDA cleared for our TMS in 2008, there's been TMS in the research labs for years. So even though it wasn't FDA cleared, it's not like this is brand new.
Right.
I mean, you're dating back, I think it was to 1995 or 85. I think was the first time they realized that they could penetrate and stimulate the motor cortex. So this whole idea and concept has been in research and being looked at for decades.
It's just now
And
starting
exactly.
to actually
And
enter
it's
the
been
mainstream.
used in Europe for 20-something years.
Oh wow! So we're kind of behind the
Yes, we're
eight ball.
behind. So I just want to make it clear that's not like in 2008, that's when it was sort of created. I mean, it's
Right.
been around for a while.
That's just when it started to
Yes.
When the
pop up.
FDA
cleared it,
Right.
which means that's when insurance companies started to
pay.
cover the cost
Right.
of it.
Yeah.
Right. And we're also close to getting FDA clearance for a helmet that will treat OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. We're hoping in May or June to have FDA clearance for that as well. So once that happens, we won't just be treating people for depression, it will also be for OCD.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now I can hear the mayor getting
Yeah, we
closer and
should
closer.
go.
Do you have a business card by any chance?